This is Cindy, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. Good morning. It is time for the Cindy's teacher car chat. Welcome. It's morning in New Hampshire, and it was dark this morning when my alarm went off, which means the days are getting shorter, and daylight savings is on its way. This morning I had to turn on the heat in my car. I just turned it off because it's warmed up, the chill is off. We're ready to go. Oh wow, it says 41 degrees on my thermometer in my car. Wow, I didn't think it was that cold actually. I've got this is like a shirt coat type thing, and it is my school colors, because we do have a soccer game today at after school. We have soccer game. This will actually be my the high school I graduated from that we're playing today. We played them a couple weeks ago and we won. So our team this year is pretty good. Our school is fairly new, and this is my 5th year at my school, and my kids, the first year they didn't really have a soccer team, and so this next year we had a soccer team, but it was very young team. You know, the kids were like 8th graders, a lot of 8th graders, a few 9th graders and stuff, and so we didn't win very many games. But this year I think is probably our 3rd or 4th year playing soccer, and the kids are more mature, and my son is a senior actually, and he plays goalie and he really loves it, and the team has really grown together. They play well together. We have a few that even play on like town leagues and stuff, so they're pretty good, and they all work together. The last game they played, they really showed some really good skills. Their defense was excellent. We had some great plays up at the net. Their endurance is good. It's really fun to watch, and it's really fun. You know, my son's a senior. This is the last year for my last child for school, so it's a lot of crazy feelings this year. Yeah, and so here we are. We're headed to school. I teach math, and I teach algebra and geometry, so high school math, and it's going well. So yeah, for algebra we're solving equations, and I always love that. I love solving equations, solving for x. And for geometry right now we're doing constructions, where you get your little compass out and your straight edge, and you just do some constructions. So they're very simple. I really enjoy that part of it too. I'm not sure the students love it as much, but to me it's something different, right? Different than the same, you know, sometimes just computations, adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing, can get a little, you know, constant. Now we're doing something a little different. So I enjoy it, and we're off to school, and lots of stuff going on the news as usual. In New Hampshire, there's a lot of stuff going on. We don't have enough money for our schools. We don't have enough money for, you know, the healthcare programs. We don't have enough money for anything. It's ridiculous, honestly. Why is it we don't ever have enough money? I think it's our whole system is kind of planned that way, right? The more money people make, the more money, the higher the prices of everything, then it is a big circle. New Hampshire economy is very interesting because we have we don't have a lot of taxes that other states have. Our main tax is the property tax. We don't have sales tax. We don't have income tax. And so it's an interesting situation, because if we need more money, we have to basically increase property taxes. And there's another way they increase the budget is by increasing fees for stuff. So instead of taxes, we pay fees. And that can be a little rough because there's certain things everybody needs, so everybody has to pay those fees. Say, if you have sales tax, people can just be a little frugal, don't buy stuff, and those who buy it, they pay the taxes for us. And property tax is hard because as you get older, you might not be able to make the big bucks that some of the younger people are making, or you're retired or, you know, injured or something else, and you can't work the high-paying jobs. So it's very hard. My mom, she gets Instacart delivered to her house, and the other day I was there and there was a lady like my age delivering Instacart. So I guess that's a good thing that there are jobs that people can do that aren't, you know, that you can supplement your income with Instacart, DoorDash, things like that. I also teach online, so that helps. That kind of supplements my income. And I hope I can do that for a good long time. I'm hoping to. There's something interesting going on in the teaching world, though, is that I have a tutoring student who only has her book online. So she just gives me the problems, and I don't have her book that I can refer to get, you know, how did they teach you how to do this certain concept. And because sometimes there's a certain concept that you don't know where they're at in their abilities, and how you teach it, how they were taught is interesting, how they would have to teach it, how I would have to help them. So it's very interesting. I don't know if I really like the virtual, like doing the exercise on the computer, because then the teacher gets the answer and can easily correct the papers. They're not really papers, virtual answers. And she knows where the students are, and it probably keeps track of their grade too. But as far as not having a book, yeah, I don't really like that idea. But I did notice that she has access to a video, so I encouraged her to watch the video. I'm going to check into that and see where those videos come from. And so I can help the way that she was taught. So that's an interesting development, is that a lot of kids are doing things on the computer, and they love it. They love computers, but I feel like there's a value in writing things on paper and, you know, remembering it. If you write it on paper and you do it yourself, you're going to remember more than if you just did it on a computer. So thank you for coming to the video. Please give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. My name's Cindy. I'm on my way to school. Hey, Kelly. I'm on my way to school in New Hampshire, and I put my camera so that you can see out my window. We have some foliage happening right now, and we're in full fall. And my husband, he drives for his work. He drives around the New England states like New Hampshire, Massachusetts area. And I asked him how the foliage was up north, and he said it's not really vibrant this year. Maybe because we are in such a drought. I heard that we were in a drought that is the worst it's been in like over 100 years, like 120 years. So, you know, that's pretty bad. And we had a drought, I would say 15 to 20 years ago. And we had a dug well. It was like 40 feet. It was pretty good for us up until that time. And then during that time, our well went dry. So we had to get a well drilled. And so far, we have water. But, of course, we don't have as many people living in the house, so that's good. But we have water, and we just need to pray for rain, and that it won't come all at the same time. Then we get floods. We did have a big, huge, my son actually went camping a few weeks ago, and it was probably maybe a month ago now, and we had the worst rain we've had in probably 100 years. It was terrible. And a friend of mine, she said that she was camping that weekend, and there was a lightning strike near their campsite. And I didn't know this till I saw her a couple days ago. She said that the current from the lightning somehow affected her cars. I don't know exactly how that went, but she said the computers in both of their cars, they had 2 cars there, both of the cars were affected, and they had to get in 2 new cars. Unbelievable. I can't even fathom that. But they were okay, so that's good. How scary is that? This is in New Hampshire, and this is the same friend that several years ago we had a tornado, which is very rare for these parts, and it went straight up through the woods from around where my house is up toward where she lives into her backyard, and took down like all the trees in her backyard. They had a pretty good sized backyard, and a lot of them were pine trees, so her husband cut them down. Well, they were already down. Cut them all up and sold them for campfire wood. So that was good and bad, but her house was fine. Everybody was safe. So I think she's the kind of friend I need to really stick around with, because things may happen around her, but God's kept her very safe and blessed her life. Well, He's blessed my life too. And so we're on our way to school. It's a beautiful morning. The sky is blue, and it's cold. Oh, it was started out 41. Now it's 46. So the temperature's going up. All is good. We have a soccer game this afternoon, and tomorrow I'm going to a cookout at my old high school. Well, the high school that I graduated from in New Hampshire. And it's a Christian high school I went to. They have an alumni cookout every year. I don't go every year, but we're going because we were invited a few times. Sometimes you have to invite me more than once for me to remember and to actually make it to go there. So we're going tomorrow. It should be fun. It's up in the north where the foliage is even more amazing than it is here. And I love it up there. My dad actually built a house up in that area, and we lived there for several years, and it was a great place to live. And my dad was a businessman, so he moved around a little bit, and he moved from Dublin, New Hampshire to Wisconsin, and we lived in Wisconsin for several years, and then moved back to New Hampshire. So New Hampshire just definitely feels like home. It's a beautiful spot, and I love the scenery, and it just really does feel like home. I've lived in South Carolina. That's where I went to college, and then I lived in Wisconsin for a little while, a couple different places, and I did love it there. I loved both places, but this is home. So anyway, how are you guys doing? How is everything going for you guys? How is school? I'm anxious to hear from Kelly. I haven't heard anything in a little while. I'm picked up another tutoring student, and this student is kind of working on some plans for having a student who's junior high, who's kind of behind in the general math skills, and what to focus on, what to do to catch them up, to get a familiarity with numbers, factors, so that we can do fractions and we can do general math skills, and kind of getting ready for algebra. So working on some ideas that are make math interesting and likable for people who aren't, majorly loving math, right? And just kind of working on my own tutoring business, which I have a few students. I'm not looking to fill my full-time schedule, but I'm looking at building my model of how I would teach and what to teach, and then, kind of just praying about the right students that would come along. Thank you so much for coming to my video. I appreciate it. Thumbs up. And I can't really read the comments. I do see someone say, do you pray? Yes, I pray. I don't usually pray while I'm driving necessarily, seriously, but of course I pray all the time. I ask God for help throughout my entire days because I need His help. And driving to work with the beautiful scenery just reminds me of how good God is, and how great He is, and how He's with me all the time. And when we go through hard things, He promises to be with us. He says, yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. And yes, I use the these and thous because I use the King James Version of the Bible because it works. It's what I've used my whole life, and I don't really feel like changing because I know the scripture as it is in the King James, and I don't believe the narrative that says you can't understand it, although I do sometimes reference other version, for maybe a more conversational English to see what it would say. But I really like the King James Version of the Bible. I feel like it's kind of like home, New Hampshire's my home. My King James Bible is also my home. It's where I find comfort and I find God. And like I said, sometimes I'll look for other versions for a more conversational style of English to see what it's going to say, but I don't read it regularly all the time. And so when I quote a verse, I usually use these and thous. The other day I was quoting a verse that I went up to Christian camp with my daughter, and their camp verse is, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. And that was our verse that we used up at my Christian school also. Just okay, fine, you don't like this activity that you have to do at school, do it to the glory of God. You don't know how the Lord is going to use this in your life as you go along in your life. And that's what I like about a Christian school, is that we can share Bible verses. It doesn't have to be just the silent belief system. It can be sharing with your fellow teachers, sharing with the students, and finding strength throughout your days. So that's the story. So thank you guys for coming to my video. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the thumbs up. And I'm going to close out this video now, and I really appreciate you coming by. And I hope to see you again soon. Today's Friday. I don't always do a morning car chat on the weekend, but we'll see what happens. I do want to make a video about my crocheted doll that I made because I took pictures, and I just want to share the progress of the doll. And I got a blue ribbon at the fair for my doll. I think it was well received, and I think the next one's going to be better though. I already know some things that I'm going to do to improve next doll, but it's in my bag here and we work on it little by little. Then I need to think about making some Christmas gifts. I have 2 stock to make, so just getting my mind into that, a few other ideas or some crafts. So thank you for coming to the video. Appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.